Hey there, everyone. Bob Simpson here, and welcome to my very first Patreon video here on my Patreon page. This is a video series that I'm starting up called What's in My Record Collection. And I have here with me a stack of albums that I just want to go through and just kind of discuss with you. Record collecting, if you know me, is something that's very special to me. I've been doing it ever since I was um, old enough to talk. And granted, a lot of those records have now disappeared, but they've been rebought over the years in various forms, reissues, and whatnot. So, just gonna have a beer from a brewery out of Florida that I can't name due to copyright, just as I can't play any of these for you for the same purposes. But cheers. All right. Well, let's get started. So, the first record, a couple of years ago, made news headlines that this artist had been um, cited for bad behavior. There was a lot of sexual misconduct with some various female artists, and put a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths, excuse me, including my own. Um, but let's not forget those other artists that we still celebrate who have been accused of the same thing: James Brown, Spade Cooley, possibly Sam Cooke, Little Richard. The list goes on and on. But it's I definitely condemn those kinds of acts. Just want to put that out there. So first record I'm going to start with is Ryan Adams' Easy Tiger. Cool thing about this record, and this is actually an original pressing. I've had this one for many years since it first came out, and this is in translucent orange vinyl. Um, a lot of great cuts off this record. This is probably the last album of his that I really enjoyed. Everything else I just really couldn't get into past this record, which came out in 2007. Um, Halloween Head, Oh My God, Whatever, etc. Yeah, let's see, Two Hearts, These Girls, gosh, great song. I Taught Myself How to Grow Old. There's a lot of good tracks on this record. I like the back cover. It's classic Ryan with his denim jacket and his Batman pin, donning a mask. I own the Lost Highway record label, and I say was like probably the last great Ryan Adams album that I thought was out. But there's that one. Up next, a band who I remember as a kid thumbing through my mom's box of albums. She had this one tucked away, and I pulled it out. And I remember the story of it being that her brother gave her the record as a gift, and I listened to a couple of tracks and thought it was kind of okay, and never really got into them until maybe just a couple of years ago. Really, I listened to the singer's gorgeous voice, and I really admired her brother, who had this ear and this knack for harmony, melody, and producing and recording technique and things of the sort. So, the singles, 1969, 1973, The Carpenters. Basically, every great early Carpenters hit is on this collection. This is one of those hits records where, in my opinion, you don't need anything else but, kind of like America's history. This is Gatefold original pressing LP. You see there's Karen Carpenter and her brother John, and some great songs. We've Only Just Begun. Cool story about that, if you're unaware, is that John was up late one night, and I'm sorry, I just called him John. It's Richard. Richard Carpenter. He was up late one night watching TV, and this commercial for a bank came on, and they were singing this song called "We've Only Just Begun," and he thought it was such a great tune. He had to hear the rest of it, so he hunted down the songwriter, whoever it was, and got a demo copy of the song. And well, the Carpenters made it a huge hit. It wasn't anything from before, but just a jingle for a bank. Top of the World, their version of Ticket to Ride is really, really nice. Superstar, which was written by the great Leon Russell. Rainy Days and Mondays, Goodbye to Love, Yesterday Once More, Hurting Each Other, They Long to Be Close to You, of course. This is an original pressing off of the A&M label. And of course you hear those trumpet sounds in there, and that's undeniably, unmistakably the great Herb Alpert, who I am a fan of, and whose album we'll get to that one at another time for sure. Here's a record that I had an original pressing of when I was in high school. I went to this record store called Yellow Rose Records, and the guy had this room, and it was just full of boxes and crates of records that you could go in and dig if you wanted to, but nothing was in order. But the record shop owner knew exactly where everything was, so if you went in looking for the Beatles or Hendrix or REM or whatever, he knew exactly where to go. And then he'd pull out like a handful of CDs and VHS of bootleg concerts of that same band. But I went on asking for this record one day, and he brought it to me. Hotel California by the Eagles. Actually, by Eagles. They're not really the Eagles, but rest in peace, Glenn Frey. We lost him about 5 years ago. So, but this, just like the original pressings, and the original pressing I had the awesome fold-out poster. But I don't remember mine being in color, to be honest with you. I thought mine was all black and white, but I could be wrong on that. I did have a friend who actually had this, and he put it on his wall. But the cool thing about this reissue, 180 gram, it does say on the sticker with original artwork, and it definitely does have the original artwork. They did a good job on this series of remastering these. They do sound quite nice, and I have some more Eagles that we'll dig into another time. But New Kid in Town, by far my favorite track off of this record. When it comes to the Eagles stuff, this is probably the only Eagles album that I really cared for. On the Border was good. One of These Nights was good. That first self-titled one was great. The longer, but this one was the one that really did it for me. But yeah, Victim of Love, Wasted Time, of course the title track. Good stuff on that album. This is one that I picked up on a couple of years back by a band who really, when it came to their 80s stuff, there was only one song I was really interested in, and it happens to be on this album. Great British rock band who is definitely part of that whole British invasion scene, like the Kinks, State of Confusion. And this one does feature the song Come Dancing, which is a great tune. The newly remastered editions of this record actually come as a really cool, the vinyl itself, it's actually like a translucent with a swirl of blue and orange, which this is an original pressing from 1983. So good record. I really hadn't ventured much into their later stuff past King Arthur record or Lilith versus the Powerman or any of that. But this one I actually, it was recommended to me to listen to, and I checked it out, and of course I came across a copy of this, and I had to have it. It's good. Ray Davies himself produced this record. That's Ray Davies there. He was the front man for the Kinks, if you're unaware of that. Here's a classic from the 90s. I grew up in my teenage years listening to this, watching the videos on MTV for this band and finding them on punk rock compilations and things of the sort. Used to blare this one in my truck all the time. This one is The Offspring, Smash. Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah, the intro, it's time to relax. It's always fun. Which they also did a neat intro on the Americana album too as well, which I had one time on CD and vinyl, their initial vinyl pressing, but you guys sold that to pay rent one time. Yeah, Nitro, Youth Energy, Bad Habit, Gotta Get Away, Genocide, Something to Believe in, Come Out and Play, Self-Esteem, Killboy, Powerhead, What Happened to You, some good stuff. So this is definitely a 90s classic for sure, and it's remastered from the original master tapes. Sounds good album for sure. This one's by a friend of mine, who I had the pleasure of getting to play with and open for, based out of Nashville, originally from the Houston area, who went to school here in Lubbock at Texas Tech, where I now reside. Mondo Signs. This is record Studebaker. So, interesting fact about this record, and this is my second pressing of it because the first one I wore out. I mean, I literally wore it out. The original release on a CD or digital platform actually features, like, I want to say 2 to 3 more other tracks, but I think they could only fit so much on the actual record itself. But yeah, it's definitely worth listening to. Some good stuff on this one. Breakaway Speed, Battle Scar, Pocket Change, which there's a cool video for. Definitely go on YouTube, check out Mondo Signs and the song Pocket Change. The video is pretty awesome, and I think Mondo has a Patreon. What am I saying? And Patreon page as well. So definitely go and support him. If I'm not mistaken, produced by Mark Nevers for the Carnival Recording Company. This was his last record, and it was put out in 2013. So my understanding is he's been working on a new one, but I don't have any other confirmation on that. But really great one. An artist that I'm highly influenced by, and everyone seems to know this, especially my style of guitar playing. And some people will tell me that I sound like him, and it's not intentional. It just comes out that way. But is this guy right here, this young stud, James Taylor. And this was his very first album. This is an English import. Now this is a 90s and early 90s, I think it's 1991 reissue of this record. But it's gatefold, and I don't think the first pressings were gatefold, but I don't recall exactly. But it is on the Apple Records label, which I'll show you here. And this is the one, as you can see, it's the infamous Apple Records label that the Beatles started. This is a German pressing, looking at it now. So I don't know what the made in England, maybe because it was actually recorded in England, that's why the sticker's on, I'm not sure. But this record was produced by Peter Asher of Peter and Gordon, who had that famous song in the 60s called A World Without Love. If you're unfamiliar with it, go check it out. It's a beautiful pop song. And anyway, James had flown to England and met up with a friend, or made a friend, who suggested, hey, you need to see this guy, Peter Asher. And Peter heard his stuff and liked him and said, yeah, well, let's go get you an audition over at Apple, and took him in to see the Beatles, and everyone enjoyed him except for John Lennon. I don't think John Lennon was really turned on to him. But anyway, Paul McCartney plays bass on this, and George Harrison plays a little bit on it too. This record, the song Something in the Way She Moves inspired the song Something by the Beatles. George Harrison wrote that tune, and it's featured on their record Abbey Road, which we'll get to the Beatles. I have many Beatles albums. We'll get to that a little bit later on in some of these other episodes. So my last record that I'm going to show you is another 1990s classic. And man, I remember when the music video for their song Buddy Holly came on MTV, and I couldn't get enough of the song and the video. I thought it was really cool, and the music I thought was pretty awesome. But you know, it kind of wasn't cool to like Weezer, so I kept it on the down low at the time. But I always thought they were a good band, and they're still going on. I haven't really gotten to any more of their music since maybe their second record. I'm one of those guys, but it's Weezer, their self-titled record. This is not an original pressing. This is a DMM pressing. I remember the early 2000s pressings went for quite a bit of money, and now you see like a $15 price tag on these new reissued versions. But I mean, yeah, every song on here is great. My Name is Jonas, Undone the Sweater Song, Surf Wax, and Say It Ain't So, In the Garage is probably my favorite one on here. But it does come with, and it's not a blue pressing. You'll see some of these that are actually pressed in blue or something cool like that, but this is not. But this does come with the if you're familiar with the CD copy, this is what you opened up to. It was the Weezer Garage with the poster up top with Randy Rhoads from their his Quiet Riot days. But anyway, so folks, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that wasn't boring. I hope that was fun, because it was fun for me to talk about, getting to nerd out about my record collection a little bit. I've got more titles. I'm excited to share them all with you. Thanks again, and cheers.